All right.
Good evening. Welcome to this special broadcast of the Apostolic Council. We're coming to you this evening live. There are some of us that are here actually in the States, but we have, though, a few of the council members that are actually all the way in Nairobi, Kenya. And hopefully they'll be sharing some of the highlights of their trip, which I'm excited to hear about myself personally. But we want to start out, we want to talk about transitioning and preparing for this new season. So, for those of you who might not be familiar with our team members of the Apostolic Council, uh, first off, we have Rachel Castille and Apostle Nelson Castille, Tamika Turner, and Catalina Scott, and Chris Bell, and Jolene Poole, and myself, Vincent Poole. And we're just glad to be able to share with you on this special broadcast night. Tonight, as we're transitioning, as we were mentioning earlier, out of the year 5785 and out of the month of Elul, which is foundational reflective period as we prepare to cross the precipice into this new year. This month of Tishri is always an interesting month. It's the beginning of the new year, and it's a double portion month in and of itself. So we'll actually be transitioning, into a new year and also into a new month, a duality of grace, if you will. And the dearest month, and the month that celebrates the actual birth date of the Lord and the high holy days. 5786, from what I'm looking at, is a very special year. Looking at the numeric value of it itself, and you're looking at a period of 5786. You're looking at grace, you're looking at perfection, you're looking at 8 new beginnings, or 80, the voice, and you're looking at Bob connecting or staking a claim, declaring what you're seeing, declaring what you're receiving through the prophetic voice that's been established in you and covered under an unusual measure of grace. So it is a time of embracing or staking your claim. It reminds me personally of hearing the voice of Caleb after coming out of his wilderness wandering period and preparing to receive the promise that had been delayed but not denied. His cry was, "Give me my mountain." Staking his claim, never forgetting the promise, and continuing to see what's been prepared for his future. Amen.
Amen.
So going into that, I want to pass the baton and hear what the other members are saying about this particular season, about this time frame, and what you're hearing going forward.
Yeah, so to continue with that, right? We're in the year 5785, moving into 5786. I called 5785 the year of essence. And I'm calling the year 5786 the year of arrival. Simply put, you will have whatever you've seen. This is a year of the manifestation of vision, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what your vision has been. If you've spent this year, this current year, 5785, either visionless or distracted by the wrong vision, you will have the fruit of that in the next year in abundance. I even find it no coincidence that the current media is trying to get everyone as feared and as scared as possible right before the new year begins, so that you launch yourself into a civil war. Mm-hmm. That is a misuse of vision right before a very pivotal moment. In our case, talking about vision, we've spent the last 3 years focusing on Kenya, getting to Kenya, because we knew this is where Elohim told us to be. We're here. Mm-hmm. We're going to be in our promise when the new year comes. And we've been getting more vision since we've been out here. And shortly after the new year, we'll be back in this region, doing some more vision casting and doing some more manifesting, actually walking in the vision. So those are some simple things about it, right? Pretty much whatever the essence of the 5 was is what is actually going to get here in the 6. I like to look at the Vav. Some people like to look at it as like a hook or a nail being driven. I like to see it as a pencil or a pen. That it is the pen or the pencil actually writing on the paper. It's the thing actually being illustrated in a moment. So whenever I see Vavs, I usually see manifestation. Whatever it is actually getting here at this time. We've spent the last year kind of looking at things that could be. You make up your mind which of those things is going to happen. That's the thing that's going to happen next year. So I actually wanted to do this session early, just for, I want to do this session before the new year came, just to give people a chance who either have been looking at the wrong thing or meditating on the wrong thing, or people who haven't had any vision, to have time to seek the spirit and gain some vision, or realign their vision or realign their focus, so that the next year does not hurt them, instead blessing them. So those are a few things I wanted to share.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll add, for me, I'm just seeing it's time to step fully into our identity, our purpose. It is now. And that's like looking at the gifts that you have, the passions that you've had, the things that you've had vision for. It's time to embody that, to step into the connections. It's like God is sending people into our lives, and almost to like mobilize what we're called to do, that it's a collective thing. Like what I'm called to do requires a lot, and that's the truth for all of us. So I'm seeing alignments and expression. We need to be declaring what we're wanting to do. And in that, you're like, wow, oh, you're way ahead of me in this area. And talking to somebody could stir that up in me, or they'd be a key piece in me getting to where I need to be. Just all this is what God is showing me. Like, don't shy back. Don't hide away. It's time to birth what we all carry. And God's just been speaking to me about that if there's anything that's be it depression or just missed appointments, things from the past, it's like, shake that stuff off. Like that has nothing to do with the now. It's like, lift your head up and see what God is bringing into your life right now. So yeah, that's a word that I'm hearing in my heart.
And also, this is a great time to not only look at your spiritual life and your physical life and things, but this is also a time to look at the connections, whether it's spiritual connections, whether it's relative connections, whether it's just social or even economic or work related. Like, look at those connections. Like, which connections are draining you? Which connections are keeping you distracted? Which connections are, you know what I'm saying, not profiting you? Like, some stuff you have to go through to get to the next step, but what stuff is keeping you in a circle? What stuff just keeps starting over and over and over again? Like, it's time to cut all of that loose, because if it's not a stepping stone to the next level, then it's time to move forward. And I know a lot of time we get very comfortable in our relationships and complacent, and we're like, oh, well, you know, they've really been good. I'm not saying trick them terribly. I'm just saying it might be time to sever that and let that relationship move on, and y'all just be on the, hey, how you doing type of relationship, instead of so intimate, because it's hindering you from being able to do what you need to do. Because a lot of time we get caught up in trying to be helpful to people that need to learn how to get into meditation for themselves, or at a job that keeps you so busy all the time that you can't see where you need to go to the next step. I'm so sorry, y'all. It's storming out here and he's barking at the thunder. And but those jobs that's so busy that you can't even think of, well, what is it that I want to do next? What is the next level up from here? What do I need to prepare myself to go up or move out of this position into the next position? Mm-hmm. So look at those connections, all of the connections around as well.
Yes. Yes. I resonate with that a lot. I noticed just in the last week or so, God showed me that I was clinging to the wrong relationships and that it was holding me back. And yeah, it was like like God just showing me the idol of my heart, that the voice that I'm meant to be, the things that God is calling me to speak on. I noticed like there'd almost be like a fuzziness on like weighing things that had nothing to do with me obeying God, you know? And yeah, I've had some pretty interesting things happen in the last week, and me just seeing like, okay, letting people make the choices that they want to make. And I'm like, okay, I see you, you do you, and I have to do me. And yeah, just God has begun to show me that's not my responsibility. And like taking that heaviness, the weight of all of that it's like surrendering people to God, and they are welcome anytime, but I don't have to manage those relationships no more. Yeah. So that was huge. I'm glad you brought that out. Yeah.
I guess I will jump on that one. What's been really pivotal for myself is about like both Catalina and Rachel were talking about, just like really being mindful of our alignments and our agreements that we're making with people, and also coming into alignment and agreement with our Father. That was something that's really been pressing on my heart, is just really digging in and getting close in relationship with Elohim, and just what does that look like, and being so close and intimate, allowing the guidance and the direction, and also the moving forward, like most of you were saying as well. So that's really been my heart, just like being in a posture of bowing, and just really allowing that bow to just really humble me, and to really go through that part of repentance as we transition over. And also a little bit of what Nelson was saying about just with, you know, things manifesting that were written down. I keep thinking about the Lord really has been showing me, write the vision, write the vision, write the vision, write the vision. And so when you were mentioning that, Nelson, was like reminding me of that exactly what I write will come to pass. And allowing that to really kind of be my focus and not be distracted about all the other stuff that's kind of blowing smoke or blowing noise, you know, what does that look like, but just really saying, okay, my first priority is my relationship, that intimacy, and allowing that intimacy to kind of birth things in me.
Mm-hmm.
My focus is a little bit different because I feel like I spent years building. And again, what Nelson said resonated with me. I'm about to put the valve in it. I'm about to put the nail, the final nail, and have my structure built and completed. It's a season, a year coming up where what we built is going to manifest. And as he noted, and also my husband noted, the year coming up is going to be a year of completion. So whatever it was we started off building, whether we knew it or not, is going to manifest this year. And I've been working on mine. I'm kind of excited. It's coming together.
And I wholeheartedly agree with everything that's been said. And in the months and days leading up to this point, the Lord has really been having me clarify my vision. But not only clarify my vision, he's been, should I say, testing or basically checking my heart to make sure that this vision that he's given me is not something that I'm trying to make happen myself. And so in terms of, finances, whatever is needed to make this thing happen, he's kind of shaking it up a little bit to make sure it's not an idol, to really check my heart to make sure it's not an idol. And so in clarifying the vision and removing any way possible that I can make this happen, because when it does manifest, everyone will know it truly was God, because Chris Bell couldn't do it, in my own resources. But he also reminded me of a dream that he's given me like several years ago. And it started out with me being in the wilderness, and just a team of people began to come around me. So I think someone was talking about the alignments. And so he's been strategically bringing people around in my circle, because I've been praying for a while for the Lord to help me to find my tribe and my destiny helpers. And it's happening. He's been aligning folks around me. So in that dream, that was the first thing that happened. And then my team, my tribe, and I began to travel, and we arrived at the edge of a desolate city. And the moment we were on one accord, one mind to build, out of nowhere came a caravan of resources. I mean, just truck after truck after truck of resources. And we went in to build. We went in to repair the breaches. We went in to bring forth the vision that God has given me. And so he kept reminding me of that. So I know moving into 5786, as everyone has been saying, this is definitely a year of manifestation. It's a year where what God has shown us, that we have been faithful in developing that vision and giving it back to him, that thing is going to begin to manifest. And part of that manifestation is with pay and Vav, Vav being that connector, and pay, of course, our declarations. So this is where our declarations will align with heaven to bring forth the manifestation of the vision that God has given many of us.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that. As we're closing this time out, there's a word that's connected with Elul that I dare to believe is a phenomenal foundational crossing over, if you will, positioning. In the Hebrew, it's called teshuvah. In our English language, kind of leaves it a little short-sighted, for lack of better terminology, because it's talking about repenting and returning. And I see more of it of having a reset of mind or thought processes to be able to actually speak into the fullness of destiny, to really realign, reset the vision to line up with your season, your identity, and your purpose. And I think it's pivotal that Elul is also a major emphasis on establishing a greater proportion of intimacy in preparedness for what's coming as we cross that threshold, and aligning yourself with, as Chris was saying, the vision that literally you were created to become the expression of and the revelation of, and therefore stepping into the manifestation of. And I think all of those pieces are seeming to be falling into place and position as we're allowing ourselves to be fully aligned with that. And that also has to do with destiny helpers, connections, positioning, the movements that are going to determine our next place of elevation, I think, are right here at this particular juncture, preparing to cross into the fullness of promise.
It's interesting you use the word reset, because maybe about two or 3 months ago, I started going through a devotional, which was basically entitled The Reset. And it was really taking me through the process of revisiting and re-examining those foundational things. And part of it was also, looking at our identity, looking at vision and that path moving forward. And I never connected the two, but yeah, I can see that reset process, resetting our mind, resetting and refocusing on what God has called us to do is preparation for really moving into the new year.
Yep. Finding ourselves, I heard Nelson talk about a fear factor, and we're going to have to live beyond that. We're going to have to find that positioning of resilience and strength. And that I find that interesting that this month that we're just about through with, that's closing out this particular week, as a matter of fact, was connected to the tribe that's known for strength, known for resilience, known for supernatural acts, if you will. And it it literally draws my mind again back to that verse in Daniel that said, "They that know their God shall be strong and do exploits." And I see that as walking and moving and living and embracing a supernatural strength to go beyond. They that know, biblically, Hebraically, whenever you're speaking of knowing, it's a term of intimacy, becoming more and more intimate and understanding that we're being reminded. I was just looking at some things today as I was jotting down some things, and the various words that were coming up in my spirit, all were our words: reform, remind, reset, return. There is a cycle, I think, that we're stepping into to bring a breaking forth of what actually is to be. And it's a strategic time not to get distracted or drawn away or drawn back.
Mm-hmm.
I even thought about when Rachel was speaking, I literally heard Rehoboth. As long as Isaac tried to dig old wells or dig his father's well, there was always a struggle from the enemy to keep him from reopening or retapping into those resources. But until he found the resource that God had ordained for him to pioneer, to be the expression of, he couldn't break through. But then when he broke through, there was a time of refreshing and a time of establishing of his purpose, his destiny, his identity, his assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And that well was called Rehoboth. God has made room for me, for us, for those that are called to pioneer, to forerun, to trailblaze this particular move that's being established for this particular season. And so I think that has a lot to do with embracing positioning, embracing covenant alignments, embracing homeland, because our covenants and our identities are always connected with land. And I think that is essentially, especially important for understanding, being able to see the vision that we are to declare, decree, express, and manifest in this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to speak to the fear aspect a little bit more. So there's a twofold thing where, and a lot of people get it mixed up, which is that in order to not move in fear, they have to not acknowledge danger, right? And refusing to acknowledge a mugger or a robber doesn't stop them from robbing, mugging, or killing you. It's the consciousness in which you approach the situation that decides how effective you get to be in that. So, like right now, like I was saying, we have a horrible situation right now, especially in the States, where current leadership is doing the best that it can to get us to kill each other. And it's easy to see what that could turn into. You're not wrong for recognizing what can be. You're only at fault. And this is the space that a lot of leadership, specifically spiritual leadership in the States, is in, where due to the lack of accountability for leadership, we're now left to kind of clean up the mess of leadership, play goalie, and hope that their stuff doesn't manifest now. And what that turns into is we're now in a space where we have to acknowledge the danger, the potential dangers, yet refuse to fuel it with our spiritual energy and bring that vision and stop ourselves from ushering in a vision that destroys us. This happened back in 2020. So many mystics got scared. They focused on a thing and ushered in a pandemic. What happens when you worry? See, worrying is the same science of manifestation as any other manifestation. The difference is that you're creating something that you don't want. So when people ask me, they're like, I don't know how to manifest. I don't know how to pray. I don't know how to have vision and then bring that thing into reality. Yes, you do. You do it every time you worry. You meditate on a thing until you can feel it. You get scared of it. You start planning in preparation for it. And then it gets there and you say, I knew it. No, it's not that you knew it. It's that you made it happen. We're in a very dangerous pocket of time, especially in America, where so many visions have been casted. The situation is much, much, much more worse than what it would have been because the mystics, the spiritual people, have been casting the wrong vision for about 6 years. Well, look at that. 6 years. We're going into the 6th year. You have the vision that you've been casting for those 6 years on the horizon. We have a small window of time to do something about it, or we have to deal with consequences and do the best we can to play goalie and janitor on the flip side of the year, on the other side when the year actually comes. So I've been doing this in my own way. This is why I've started teaching about certain things more now than I did years ago. It's because I don't believe in my contemporaries. I don't believe in most of my contemporaries. That's not a slight at the council. That's a slight at the mystics of America. I personally don't have much because I've seen this for 6 years. And I'm like, no. I'm outnumbered. So what I've started doing is teaching people how to heal the sick, teaching people codes of spiritual warfare, inspiring people for immortality more than I ever have, inspiring people to begin to at least try to raise the dead. Because those are solutions I think will stick, especially when there's so much more going on. It's hard to get it. I call what we're experiencing in the natural world a group project. And sometimes when you're working on a group project, the other people involved tear your project up. It don't matter how good your handwriting was, how good you can make PowerPoints. The fact that it's a group means other people's stuff is in it, and the end result isn't always perfect. So at the very least, if you can't shift the vision, at least prepare for the vision. But for the visions you can prepare for and the visions you can shift, do that.
That's so good.
That takes discernment to know which is which. Some things I can change, some things I can only prepare for.
And that comes with you being honest about who you are and where you are. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the time, a lot of people do a lot of stuff for show. You know what I'm saying? And they try to appear more or less than what they are. And we've already had this conversation about humility. When you're walking in true humility, you're exactly what you're supposed to be. You're not trying to be less. You're not trying to be more. You just are. And when you know exactly what your lane is, when you know exactly who you are, what you're capable of, what you need to work on, and working on those things to get stronger in certain areas, that's when you can be that. That's when you can, be like, you know what? I might not be as strong in this, but I could teach you how to do this over here. So if you want to learn how to do this, come on over here. If you want to learn how to do this or how not to do this, come on over here. I have you there. And just being honest, if they ask you, hey, can you do such and such? If you can't or you're weak in that area, just tell them the truth. Hey, I can. I'm not as strong as I would like to be. So I don't want to teach you that because I'm not going to teach you the best way to do that. But hey, I know this person, my brother and sister over here, they're really strong in this area. So I'll connect you with them and go over there for that. But you can come to me for this. So it's like that ego has to go when it comes to that. You have to know who you are, what you're strong in, what you're not strong in. And for the things that you want to get better at, you have to work on them. Nobody can make you better but you. You have to be the one to decide, I'm going to strengthen this,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And God's been talking to me about the full surrender. It's like, if you don't desire something, that's not going to come to you. Like, you have to want your destiny. You have to want to use what you're created for. Or you'll just reject everything that's coming to you. So that's something that God's been showing me, that it's like, are you ready to get on your path? This is what your path looks like. This is what you're made for. This area you haven't touched in years. Are you ready to do it? That's what I'm seeing. And what stopped me from doing it all this time? What has been an idol in my heart that was more important? And yeah, God's been guiding me and showing me what I need to lay down. And for me, like, I laid down my boldness, my opinions. Like, people could say opinions, bad word, whatever, but I mean, just like actually letting God use who he created me to be, to actually be the voice that I'm created to be, not to filter it because I over accommodated things that was never my responsibility. And it complicated the simplicity of talking, the simplicity of influence. And yeah, it's just so important that whatever has us locked up, to get out of that place. Like, that's my responsibility. To not walk in a false identity in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I want to speak to something from a Hebraic standpoint. The year that we're going into is Elul. We don't leave the month of Elul for the whole year. It's just one big harvest year, one big year of the fruit finally manifesting. This is the fruit of the last 6 years of work, whatever that is. It's one big Elul. We don't leave Elul. Yes, that's the month we're in, but that's going to be the year.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know because it takes away the need to rush.
It's just very exciting to hear that. And I think this is also a good time, like before we get into the regular holiday season, to get rid of traditions that also don't benefit us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, look at those traditions. And I'm not saying that you got to give up, all of your family traditions, but look at those traditions that are connected or rooted in something that doesn't benefit your future, and decide, you know what, we can start a new tradition, or I don't have to do that anymore. I'm tired anyways. I don't want to do it anyways. But, we get very complacent when it comes to traditions because that's the way we've always done it. We do this all the time. This is a great time to look at those traditions and be like, are we going to continue this? Are we going to start something new? Or I'm tired. I want to start nothing new. Let me just cut this off because it's draining me and it's more work than I need it to be. And it's not even benefiting anything. So look at them traditions too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even emotional habits. That's like another version of tradition. My routines, the way I handle things. Oh, this is just normal for me. And God could be like, you need to get rid of all that. Like, this maybe it just sound like God talking hard to me right now, but like it's literally what I need. It's like I've seen the fruit of it. I'm seeing the freedom. I'm seeing the life, the quality of life that's always been available when I let God speak into everything. And sometimes my vision is held down because of my own emotional patterns. So like they have to change for me to, so that my destiny isn't in my future. My destiny is in the now. So it's something about me that's not surrendered to flow in the now as what I've seen, because it's the real me. So it's been like day by day by day, like a new thing and a new revelation and another thing I step out of. And it's like moment by moment. Am I trying to maintain what has been, or am I consuming and receiving what God is pouring out right now? And what God wants me to pour out right now. Yeah.
And since this entire year is going to be a Elul, that means that the structure of a Elul stays for a year. The king is in the field, the queen is on the throne. That means there's an emphasis for feminine dominion, but also an emphasis for masculine philanthropy. That's what we're doing right now in Kenya. It's a bunch of that happening right now, and that's benefiting a few different countries at the same time. So we're experiencing multiplication. We thought we were just here for Kenya. No, we didn't got 2-3 more countries added to us.
Yeah.
And we just got to figure out how to steward that. But yeah.
That's the beauty of being where God wants you to be. It's just, there's just more. Like we could see Kenya until we obeyed that. And now we see more. Yeah.
It's taking that first step. And once you take that step, then everything else opens up.
Yes.
Keys to obedience. Usually people, and I get this a lot from people who are trying to grow in the spirit. They like, okay, how do I get this? I'm like, okay, you do 1, 2, 3, and 4. They like, well, I tried 4. 4 didn't work. I said, no, you got to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, I did 1 and 2. It wasn't. No, you got to do all the steps. So even in our journey, a lot of times we see the vision and we don't really necessarily do any of the steps we're supposed to do to get it. And then it's just supposed to happen. And it's supposed to be right and perfect when it get here. So one of the things that this demands is our obedience and our submission and our focus to what the vision is. Thing about visions. Visions actually demand your worship. That's one of the things. People keep worshiping Christ. He didn't ask for it. Visions, on the other hand, need you to write it down, make it plain, look at it, stare at it, observe it. Yeah, that go your worship. That's vision.
Also requires our work.
Yep.
In the cross-pollination of Elul infiltrating or becoming the manifestation of this year, what do you see in the expansiveness of that? Because it's demanding, Elul demands much greater, how do I want to put that, emphasis on intimacy. And I dare to believe that the average believer, quote unquote, does not really understand intimacy.
Well, I'm excited to, as far as intimacy goes, to see the working together of the masculine and feminine throughout the entire year and not just for the season. Because while, the king is in the field and, the queen is on the throne, like those are two working hand in hand. Work is still getting done in both areas. So the king couldn't be in the field if work couldn't still be getting taken care of in the kingdom. So they both have to go hand in hand. And I'm excited to see the masculine and the feminine work together for a whole year. Like, I'm very excited to see what this looks like in the physical. And, we know what it's supposed to look like in the physical, in the spiritual, but to actually see the coming together of the masculine and the feminine in a positive light. Like, I'm super excited and super open to seeing what that looks like and how it manifests on the earth.
Yeah.
There's a question that came up that said, what does masculine philanthropy mean, or what does that look like? So to understand the original understanding of Elul, which is just the king is in the field, is kind of like the branding for it. That was the time when the king would come down and live amongst the people, and pretty much whatever was needed could be asked directly from the king. So it deals a lot with prosperity. The difference is that I'm emphasizing it from a place of sonship where you're not necessarily begging. Instead, you're the king that's out in the field, sharing your wealth, sharing your wisdom. You're giving your abundance, and that's philanthropy. Philanthropy is giving to those who need it. Charity, they call that evil today for some reason. It's woke now to be a philanthropist and to be a blessing to others, but that's what the kingdom's all about,
That is most definitely what the kingdom is in the field was about. Having unencumbered, unhindered, unobstructed access to the king at all times. Without, again, I heard traditions mentioned several times. Without traditions or the palatial protocol, if you will, without having to have a specific appointment. Because to go visit the king at the palace, you had to be invited and you had to have an appointment, or you were risking your life.
I'd even say that Elul kind of demands a reconstruction of the mind of queens, but the heart of kings. The feminine royalty is learning how to exercise her dominion, getting to think, getting to plan, getting to organize. Men, on the other hand, or the masculine royalty, is out in the field around the people, seeing what the needs of the people are, the feelings, the thoughts, actually considering the people when they usually don't. That's a shifting of the heart. So if we were to say that in general it's yin and yang, this time it's yang and yin. It's backwards right now.
Yeah, Elul is definitely about a heart posture. And that's why it's in the Hebrew, it's an acronym for that scripture in Song of Solomon. I am my beloved and my beloved is mine. Same thing. It's the restructuring of the nature of the heart, for lack of better terminology, altogether. It channels the actual nature of El Shaddai. Whether we'll ever fully understand that and see the cross-pollination or the interaction of both natures of the Godhead from that aspect.
But thinking about the king being in the field, just us being out in Kenya, it's like day after day after day, going from like one person's house, this fellowship, this mission, this moment, this exchange, dinner with this person over here, and it's just I'm seeing this played out with all these different people, of them serving other people, creating a space for people, them sharing what they have, be it their wealth, their wisdom, their whatever they can add to that moment. Like just seeing people do life together as the kingdom and stir things up. And it's like, oh, wow, what a connection. You've had this vision for this many years. That's a piece to mine. And I've been seeing that too. And then this project is taking off, and this is being game planned. And then over here, this other thing, I'm like, oh, it's just this continual flow that we come out of this belief that it's like, oh, I don't know what to add. It's more like I'm unwilling to add my piece. Is more so what I'm seeing within myself, that it's like, oh, I didn't think that was beneficial. I came in agreement with a lie. I've been like stopped using that gift. It's like all this sort of stuff that like the truth of the matter is, it's like we all carry something of value, and we just need to let God illuminate that. And maybe the illumination is you go in a room where you feel inadequate, and you get to see the lie of that, because you're not. And that thing loses its hold in an environment. Like, yeah, that's just what I'm seeing. Like, and that's allowing yourself to live in such a way that people can speak into your life, that God can show you something, that you put yourself in a situation that makes parts of you uncomfortable so that they can break off. And yeah, we're made for the Spirit to flow through us freely to other people. And that looks different because we're all different, but nonetheless, like none of us in our kingdom assignment will be an island, yeah.
There was a moment that happened while we were in Kenya that really embodies the heart of what Elul is, at the very least for men, but I think sons in general can learn from this. We were dropping the Wasangas, Kiki Wasanga off, and the kids and stuff off at one of the government buildings. And while we were there, just for clarity, we're traveling with a team of 5. It's me and my wife, Apostle Charles and his wife, and a rabbi friend of mine from Cameroon. So we're all there. We had just got done eating. We get there to drop her off before we go home. And some kids come up pretty much asking for food. Well, we had some trash we were throwing away. They snatched the trash from us and was ripping our trash to shreds, trying to get something off the bones, off of something. That broke our hearts.
Oh, wow.
And Apostle Charles, it hurt him the most because kids is his thing. And that's all that had been in his head for the next few days is, I can't look at that and not do something about that. I can't see that happen right in front of me and turn my head and not look at that. I have to do something about that. By the end of this week, we'll be feeding some more people. Like that's just a solution. You see the problem, that problem hurts your feelings, and then you go fix it. We try to jump over the fact that it's supposed to hurt our feelings sometime before we try to. That's why things don't get solved, is that we don't let it hurt first. We only fix the things that bother us. There's nothing that got done that didn't piss somebody off, that didn't upset somebody. Everything we have, every innovation is a result of someone else's discomfort. They liked it, they hated it enough to fix it. Sons have gotten complacent, our hearts have gotten hard, where people can be homeless, hurting, mistreated, killed, snatched, ripped, removed, and we turn our head. That's one of the things. That's kind of why it needs a year for Elul, because we've kind of proven to be heartless en masse. So it takes a year to possibly get our hearts back on the right track so that we can have some imperial or some kingdom results. Otherwise, we could kiss this American dream goodbye.
It's interesting you said that because, here in America, we're so used to just watching the news and seeing everything that goes on, so much so that, we see it frequently enough that our hearts become hardened to it. It's just another thing. And one of the things that the Lord's been having me pray is that, okay, Lord, break my heart for the things that break yours.
Yes.
And so we can see situations through your lens enough that it will cause us to react and do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's that sense of responsibility. Like we're in Kenya, and then it's like, you could just think like you're introducing yourself to a lot of people. They want to know like, what's your heart? Like what brought you here? And like looking at the things that comes up, either you take responsibility for what you're seeing, you have a mission because you've taken responsibility. You're like, this needs to change and we're the ones to do it. That's just connecting to what you're saying, Chris. It's like, yeah, we can either be jaded and just be like, oh, that happens. That's so common, as though it's just something that we observe about reality now. It's not something like Nelson's saying that actually hurts, that makes us angry. That shouldn't be. Yeah. And then that brings into seeing the power of your gift. It's like, okay, if, for instance, like I'm a worshiper. I'm more than a worshiper, really. God is totally reworking the music stuff for me right now. But my awareness of where hearts are, what they're experiencing, and if I have a gift that can shift that, like, why would I not use it? Like, just God is challenging me in breaking a lot of religious mindsets off of it, but more so just like, this actually helped. I played and this left the room. People's vision opened up, or whatever it is. It's like, to get the Christianity off of all of our gifts. And it's just, you see something, can you change it? Can you help? And maybe you can, and you just need God to like activate you again. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing in my own life right now.
It's like the season of the Nehemiahs, the modern day Nehemiahs, where we see the brokenness, we see everything that's going on, and Nehemiah wept, and then he fasted and prayed about it. And can we get beyond ourselves and begin to weep for what we see, the brokenness, and then really allow Holy Spirit to help create that vision and give us the courage to begin to ask for the resources to do something about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy because for the last month, almost 2 months, that's been my private prayer and meditation is the resources to be able to start doing community things, because it's you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know out there in the world, I'm a teacher. So in education, you see a lot of stuff. And then like, I'm one of those people, like I bought my house in the hood. I like living in the hood. I like seeing the different people, but you also see the other side of it and where people need this and people need that. And I don't want to be the one that's saying, oh, they don't have it and they don't have it. I want to be the one to be able to say, they don't have it, but that's okay. I can provide it. They don't have it, but let me teach them how to do this so that they won't lose it the next time. You know what I'm saying? So that's been my private prayer of the financial resources to be able to help my community, because I do small stuff. Anybody who knows me personally know that I'm my hands is always in something, you know what I'm saying? And I'm never the one to toot my own horn. Christianity taught you, oh, you don't let the left hand know with the right hand. it's doing, but it also like gave you a fear of talking about the good things that you're doing, not from a boasting or a bragging standpoint, but from a connecting with other people doing the same thing that you're doing, so y'all can pool y'all resources and help more people. So it's like, if you stay in the fear part that we were talking about earlier of, oh, if I let everybody know what I'm doing, then I'm not going to be blessed for what I'm doing for the people. But it's the intention behind why you're sharing what you're sharing. You know, if you're sharing it for likes, then yeah, you're not going to be blessed for that. But if you're sharing it to say, hey, I know there's other people in the city that like to go out and feed the homeless. You know, me and my people, we get together and we do this, you know, every second Thursday of the month. If anybody else want to partner with us, you know, y'all can meet at my house. We can use my kitchen this time, and we can go to your kitchen next month. We can put these plates together. I got like 7 cars this time. Y'all can go on this side. I can go on this side. And pooling those resources to help more people, you know, we can get a lot more done. And so that's been my heart posture and where I've been doing. I've never stopped doing what I always do, but I would like to do it on a larger scale to reach more people and change the outcome of a lot more situations.
Yeah, the Lord was he's been challenging me over the years as to not dumb down the vision. Don't take what he's given you and, you know, just whittle it down to something that you feel you can handle and do. The vision, you know, a true vision from Elohim is going to be beyond our capabilities anyway, and we need to leave it there and then have the courage and boldness to trust Elohim that, you know, you gave it to me. You gave me the vision. I know the provision is coming. The provision will arrive, and the Lord keeps taking me back to that dream that he gave me. That, you know, just keep moving forward. And when I got to the place where I needed to be, supernatural provision just came out of nowhere. Just keep moving forward. Don't look at limitations. Don't look at, you know, what you don't have. Look at what you do have. And then what you do have is Elohim. So look at that and move forward.
That's good.
Absolutely.
That's really good. I was just thinking that as many of you were speaking about almost like a rewiring of mindsets, it was just like what we were traditionally taught or led to believe became our reality with the lies or whatever. And it's almost like there's a rewiring happening that's changing the mindsets to be able to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so for me right now. It's like exposing excuses that defended a mindset. Yeah, like an entire reality that is not God's heart. And it's I almost see it's like a cloak. Like you don't know that you're cloaked. And it's like when God shows you and you're able to see it, you need to repent right then, or you just like going back under it. That's what I'm seeing in this hour. Kind of like how Nelson said, like we have an opportunity to get our vision right. And we have that opportunity to go into the new year and with Father to agree with his plan for us and to see the fruit of that. Yeah.
And I think it's important not to feel like you have to have the blueprint already. You have to do what you're supposed to do daily. We want to have it mapped out, what my year is going to be like. But it's a walk of faith. each day you do what the Lord is telling you to do. And each day the provision will come, the vision will come, the enablement to proceed along the way you're supposed to go. We have to ditch the map. We have to ditch the ways and the GPS and all of that. We have to follow the Lord almost blindly, follow what he tells us to do.
Like, I hit a bunch of thresholds talking about vision, right? My Patreon reached over 100 patrons over the last week. YouTube went over 2,000. Like, a bunch of goals that I set years ago finally manifested over the last week. And yeah, that's just a byproduct of maintaining a vision. It's more important to know what you want than to know when it's going to get there.
Right.
Because if you don't know what you want, it ain't never showing up. One of my mom's favorite quotes from Kenneth Hagin is when he said people would come to him in the prayer line and he'd say, "What do you want prayer for?" And they'd say, "Oh, nothing in particular." He'd say, "That's what you finna get. Nothing in particular." That's kind of how we approach life in general. Forget prayer. That's just life. People struggle to find a spouse because they don't know what they want. People struggle to find a job because they don't know what they want. People struggle to make friends because they don't know what they want. No vision, no fruit, no results. You can't sow a seed without knowing what you're trying to grow.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. I'm just going to throw something in the ground and something good, whatever. I'm going to like whatever come up, because gardening don't work that way. When it comes to gardening, you have to nurture each individual thing the way it needs to be nurtured.
Yeah.
You try to treat apples like a cactus, and yeah, you killing your apple tree, ain't nothing growing. You might not get a little leaf to sprout out the side, but you got to learn. It's more about commitment to the vision, know what the vision is,
Know the vision,
and worship the vision till it gets here. It'll tell you what it needs, because it's more about agreeing with it, and the steps come from there. The whole trip, in order to get to Kenya, wasn't mapped out perfectly. We just decided we was going, and whatever needed to be done for us to get here was going to get here. We're here. We could have got caught up in having it be done a specific way, and we would not be here. The vision is we going to be here, therefore we're here.
right?
Yeah.
I'm trying. Look, to be honest, I really don't want to go back to the States. I promise if this visa was longer, I would not be coming back no time soon. And the reason I say that, and hopefully I don't sound too harsh when I say it, but I'm finally in a place that likes for you to solve problems. America has warped itself into a place that thrives on suffering, where people who suffer want other people to suffer. And they don't want to end their own suffering. Meanwhile, I'm in a place, yeah, people got problems. The government jacked up over here too. But the people at least want to live better. They want better for themselves, and they'll help you help them. Oh, I like solving problems. That's the main reason I don't want to come back, because we getting problems done that I've been trying to do in the States forever. Is just pessimism has kind of ruled the States for a while.
So I'll add this, like, about knowing what you want. You have to admit what you want, because the unspoken thing isn't going anywhere. Like, you need to admit it to God. You're gonna have to admit it to people. You're gonna get familiar with leading with what you want. Like, that's the only way you can build. You have to be like, this is my mission. This is my why. This is where I'm going. And also looking at what are the things I want. It's like seeing things contradict one another. It's like, I want to be who God created me to be. I want to be accepted. I want to be liked. I want my family to be close to me. I don't want to have this like all these things. You can't have them both. You have to decide which one you want, because you can have what you want. You have everything you actually want. You just haven't admitted what you want most. If you want to be accepted, you are micromanaging the mess out of that. Like you're very accepted, but you don't have your destiny. You don't have your career. You don't have divine relationships. You don't have wealth. You don't have all these other things, but you got the thing that you want. And that's what I've had to look at in my heart. That's what God's doing in me. Decide what you want and go after it. And when you're listening to God and God is speaking to you what he created you to be, you're coming in alignment with that. Like there's no reason why you were created for something and all of heaven wouldn't be backing you to do it. Like if you agreed to the mission. So, yeah.
That's very interesting to hear that each one of those portions of the vision needs to be vocalized. And it seems like that would be a reality of the understanding if we understand this particular season that we're in, that we've been in. You know, Nelson mentioned the 6 years of pay. And what have we been declaring over those years, and what has actually manifested? What has deteriorated? You know, Rachel said some things. It's a time for us to really become very honest, even to the point sometimes even with yourself, you have to be brutally honest and accept responsibility for lack of movement or momentum or even stagnation, and then get back on track and really begin to allow yourself to embrace vision and allow your mind and your speech to get in agreement with that in this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's been interesting to hear the challenges and some of the things that you guys are doing, some of the things we've got to see, the few things I've got to get a chance to watch, and it's been truly interesting to see the momentum and the movement that's taking place. And I'm coming to the position that ought to be the normality, if you will, for the sonship journey. And we're actually going to have to pick up that mantle again and get moving, pressing forward, and allow there to be a rekindling, if you will, reigniting of vision and an establishing of purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll add this. I see like the control that we can be in. It's the only reason why we wouldn't do everything we're created for. it is, sorry, I'm trying to verbalize this. Our own control over ourselves is why what we're naturally made for isn't happening, right? Like water just does what water does. Like if you pour it, it flows. You know, a lamp, it just does what it does. A chair does what it does. So that's how we're created. So we have to look at the control where it's like the clench, the no, my will, rejecting what I am is why my destiny is like on pause. I have to let God show me. And maybe you have to start with saying, God, give me wisdom. I can't see myself. I consciously think I'm totally surrendered. I want the will of God for my life. But I might have a filter. I might have some religious belief in the way that's completely thrown my destiny off. It could be, I'm so tethered to the scripture that I'm afraid of hearing the voice of God and follow. Like it could be anything. But these are all willful decisions. We've chosen an agreement that has us out of alignment. It might be that you're triggered by people who are actually fulfilling their calling, and you're attacking them. It could be all kinds of things, but like these situations is an opportunity to see yourself and to grow from there.
Another simple thing is to get from around people who can't help you steward your vision. People who attack you for dreaming bigger than them. People who hear your dream or your vision in its immature state, and instead of helping form it, they try to kill it. Major culture shift between here and the States is that a lot of what we've done is vision cast and plan major projects, and at no point has anyone said, "Ooh, that's gonna be hard. We can't do that." Nobody has said that once. Instantly, we said, "Oh, I know this person that can work on this. I got this person here. Let me call them and see if they can." We just hop on the vision. I try to do stuff in the States. Guess what happened? Oh no, people ain't gonna want that. Somebody might steal it. It ain't gonna work. Where's it gonna go? How they gonna do that? Oh no. I don't know how this is gonna happen. Major cultural difference, which is why I'm enjoying getting stuff done. Because trust me, when you're working with Apostle Charles, he got some big dreams. That's easy to get stepped on in the States, which is why they're thriving over here. They said, fine, the States don't want them, we want them, let's have it.
Right.
Get from around it, get out of environments that are not helping your vision. Get rid of people. Whenever you have a new vision, they attack it. That's not family. That's not kingdom. They need to go away.
Yeah.
Or as the Africans say, be removed.
Sometimes people's silence for years is their rejection of your identity. And you're still trying to convince them through, oh, they're going to see something in my life. I'm like, no, they can, but you can't cling to that. That's something that God showed me. Like, that's clinging to the wrong audience. That's what God was showing me. That's not your audience.
That's also delaying.
Comment one day, but they're not. What'd you say?
I said also by, doing that is delaying your destiny too.
Yes.
You're trying to convince them what you already know. Why you have to convince them? They're not the one that's going to help you.
Right. That 100%. That's what God was saying. That's what it halted me. I'd like to believe, oh, that's not affecting me. I'm just constantly thinking like, oh, that doesn't bother me. Oh, I'm good. It's like, no, I'm tethered to that. And God came and was like, stop.
Yeah. Because even that deals with one of the areas that deals with is knowing not just who to share your vision with or what area to share your vision with, but where you pull inspiration from. I've said this multiple times. I have a marriage that people love because I didn't take advice from people whose marriages I didn't like. I grew up in church. A bunch of people was married. Did nobody have a relationship I was looking forward to? So I didn't take none of their advice. Now I have something they like, oh, you're doing a good job. I'm like, I know I'm doing a good job. I'm not doing what you told me to do. When I wanted to learn how to heal the sick, I didn't take advice from people who didn't believe in healing the sick. They can't do nothing for me. When I wanted to start raising the dead, I couldn't entertain people whose first instinct was to bury folk and say God called them home. I had to stop taking advice from certain people. Taking advice from people is not the same as honoring people. I've loved everybody I mentioned, and that don't mean I want none of their advice. I got family members, they got marriages, they got relationships, they got finances. Oh yeah, they older than me. I don't want what they got.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew what I wanted. I got everything I wanted. They like, oh, you go until you 57 and then you're going to get this disability. I'm like, I don't want that. I'm going to find something else. I'm glad that worked for you. I don't want that. Now I make more money than them and I don't work nowhere near as hard as them. And I didn't have to scam people to do it. I got a wife and we get along because I didn't take the advice of just go pick somebody because you found a wife and then she gonna submit to you because you're the man. And if she don't, God gonna cut. No, we good on that. We good on that. If I didn't want it, I chose not to take advice from people who had what I didn't want. If somebody had something I wanted, now I'm all ears. You got something I don't, and you got it in the way that I wanted, I'm all ears. What you got? How'd you get it?
Even about marriage, admit what you want. Like, you'll be marrying people your parents want you to marry. Admit what you want.
For all the parents out there, also in the way that who you want your kids to be when they grow up. If I listen to my people, my child would not be who he is today. I knew exactly the type of person that I wanted to raise. And I decided that I wasn't buying toy guns and I wasn't play fighting and I was going to use correct grammar and all of these things. And I had people in my family tell me, oh, you're going to raise him to be a sissy and he going to be a punk and he ain't going to be able to defend himself and he going to be stuck to you and you like, and though, hey, we don't
That's their kids. That wasn't me.
We don't have a strange relationship. Everybody who knows we have a very healthy mother-son relationship. Y'all see them, proof is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? I take partial credit. The other credit is all Elohim. You know, but even with your kids, you have to decide I wasn't raising another hood thug. I refuse that. That's not who I wanted my son to be. I didn't want him to be another boy walking around here with their pants down behind collecting Jordans and not going anywhere in the future. Please don't come for the Jordan comment. I'm just saying. But you know what I'm saying? Like that is a common thing. Like they grow up and buy polo and they get every Jordan that come out but they don't have a plan for their future. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want my child to be the one that's stuck here without a future. So I made sure I did everything that I could to make sure that he knew how to critically think for himself. And not base his thinking on, well, that's what they told me, so it must be true. So have a vision for your kids, and everybody who got something to say about how you raising your kids, block them out. Because I didn't tell nobody how to raise theirs, because they're not telling me, they weren't telling me how to raise mine. And this, look at where we are.
Yeah. You made a decision. Yeah.
So truthfully, if they didn't get it in an hour and 23 minutes, they ain't gonna get it.
Alrighty.
I guess we could move into final remarks. I've checked; there aren't any more questions in the chat, really. None that actually matter for what we're talking about. I guess we can move on and see if anyone in the council has any final remarks. before we close out for this session?
Sure, I will go. Don't let anybody bully you out of your position. Like, just like Nelson just told you guys, and what we've all been hitting on all day. If you don't know who you are or what your purpose is, find that out first. Once you realize what it is, make sure that you're working and making steps towards everything that you're supposed to be. Don't worry about who's not on board. Don't worry about who's not supporting you. Don't worry about any of those things. Understand who you are, what your purpose is. Do that. And it doesn't matter who doesn't believe in that. You believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. I want to just encourage everyone. I hope you heard some of the highlights of what was said about preparing for this season and crossing over, prepared to have your vision reignited, reenacted, reestablished, repurposed, and repositioned. Become refocused, in other words. And then allow both your mind and your voice to correlate with the establishing of that vision. Because Rachel said something, and I don't know if people heard it. She said her destiny is not her future, her destiny is now. And we got to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the catalyst for bringing that both into focus and into manifestation.
Mm-hmm. And I'll add, it's equally important to know what you do not want. You have to choose what you're going to dishonor. You have to carve it out completely. You can't have the weeds and the wheat. You got to uproot stuff. So that's been honestly one of the biggest things that needed to happen for me right now, because I've been a person, I've wrote the vision, I've made it plain for well over a decade. I've known my future, I've known my destiny. And trying to get there on my own, I couldn't, it just wasn't happening. There was things I was still honoring that needs to be completely dishonored in my life. I need to be like, no, I will not have this anymore. I don't want to just, like, you could have anxieties, you could have worries, you could have all these things that are just growing alongside your vision, where you're not sitting in your seat of authority. You're just being able to just be plucked left and right and pulled over here by anybody like who's got all the strings on your life. You're like, I don't want to live like this no more. That's what set me free. You have to know exactly what you want. And you have to know exactly what you don't want to. And then it'll be a lot easier to see when the things you want start approaching your life. You're like, that's the opportunity I've been looking for. That's the friend I've needed. That's the right support group. That's the right country I need to live in. It's just so clear. You just able to just, you're like, it's now. Yeah. My destiny is right now. And every day I have a purpose. So, yeah.
I see that our voice is very important in the season, as well as really proclaiming and really speaking those things and not being silent. From what I've gathered from everyone saying, it's just like our ability and our willingness to speak those things out loud and to really not play the middle ground or try to be in the middle. It's either black, white, yes, no riding the fence, hot, cold.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's definitely time to boldly just be. Be who God created you to be. And do it very boldly. Move forward. Don't listen to no naysayers to try to tell you otherwise. Change the way you pray. Pray forward and not back. A lot of times we look at the limitations and the lack and we address those. No. Just pray the vision forward and boldly just be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for those of you watching, if you want to connect with us, you go to the website, www.apostolic-council.com.
Is it org?
Is it org? .org. My bad. Apostolic-council.org.
Yeah.
That way you can find all the ways to connect with everyone that's on the panel without us having to go one by one. Caveofmystery.org. But
RachelCastille.com.
Hopefully y'all got everything that y'all need to be able to move forward. I guess we could pray for y'all. So right now, I just pray that the fire of the Father begin to move through your minds, add wisdom, add vision, add inspiration, add creativity. May the fire of Mother begin to move through your hearts, more love, more compassion, more empathy, more sensitivity to your surroundings. I speak to the Son in you and ask for that to begin to stir and begin to move. More responsibility, more dominion, and more mastery. Amen.
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 Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have an amazing rest of your night and a blessed new year coming very soon. And we're going to be having a 12-hour of prayer coming up on October the 10th
in
Houston. So if you're in the area, definitely join us. The information you can find, we'll be posting it on all of our timelines.
Yeah.
You'll be able to find that. And yeah, that's it. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.